Welcome. My name is Alasdair Cameron. I'm the CEO at ARMA and a member of the Times Higher Education Awards judging panel. Thanks for taking the time to watch this interview with Loraine Leeson from Middlesex University. Their Active Energy project won the Times Higher Education Knowledge Exchange Initiative of the Year for 2022. Loraine, congratulations. Can you introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your role at Middlesex?
Thank you very much. I'm Dr. Loraine Leeson and I teach social practice in the visual arts department of Middlesex. So social practice is a way of using the arts to make a difference. And I'm an artist and a researcher. And so that's what I've always done through my creative work. And that translates well into research and knowledge exchange. So I teach that, but also I do research in that. And at the moment, I've got some research projects on which are I'm working with a team of researchers and artists and art therapists who are supporting children in Kashmir who've been through the effects of conflict there. I've got another one looking into the histories of community-led planning, and I'm particularly interested in the role of the arts in that. And then I've also got another project with the Tate and Queen's Museum and City University of New York, where we're looking into how we can improve social practice teaching through collaboration with cultural organisations and also by using our international connections and building on those.
Fantastic. So the Active Energy project had been going for 12 years when you made your nomination. So could you describe how the project came about?
Yes, it was never set out as to be a 12-year project. In fact, it was a 6-week artist commission. And there was a research project going on at Queen Mary University where they were looking into why the experience of older people was failing to inform developments in new technology. And they asked some artists to respond to the research. So I met a group of older men called the Geezers, and they meet regularly at Age UK in Bow to combat loneliness and isolation. And I just put a question to them. I just said, what would you like to see? What developments in technology would you like to see that would benefit yourselves or your community? And I thought they might come up with some gadgets and I'd visualise them because we had an exhibition to do at the end of this 6 weeks. And then one of them said, whatever happened to tidal power? He said, I remember when it was on the television many years ago and older people can't afford to heat their homes. We've got a tidal river down the road. Why aren't we using it to power our community? By the end of that session, they all wanted to do tidal power. And I had to say to them, I know absolutely nothing about it, but I'll take you every step of the way that I can. So basically, I was based at University of East London then, and with help from the director of sustainable energy there, we did our own research and we discovered that, for example, that you could put tidal turbines on the Thames barrier. So our exhibition was about how you could actually use the Thames locally in East London to power that community. But they didn't want to stop there. They were raring to go. And, you know, when they've got the energy, then I'm going to go with them. So I raised a bit more money. And also I've noticed that when projects like this, they seem to, if you tap into people's creativity, there's a sort of vortex of energy that takes place and other people sort of come on board. And so we were joined by some engineers and also the gallery that had originally given me the commission came back with some funding. They raised some funding for intergenerational work. And so it went on. So it went on piece by piece. And every time we did one thing, I'd raised a bit more money and we did some more. So in a way, the energy of the Geezers led the project and I went with them. And I suppose as an artist, you know, what I do is as I say, I use creative processes to bring up people's creativity, hold everything together and enable things to emerge. And so it went on for 12 years until it came to a natural end, and that was in 2020.
Fantastic. So maybe you could help by just outlining some of the outcomes that the groups involved have managed to realise.
Well, Okay, I suppose there are different sorts of outcomes. I mean, some of them are in terms of what it did for the geezers themselves, who commented about their well-being and how it sort of it benefited them from being part of something, having their say, and getting their ideas out there. Because in a way, what I'm interested in and the way I see change happening in this way is that there's a lot of knowledge held at local level. And if I can help untap that and bring it into the public domain, then that can feed into public discourse and make things happen. So that was something that benefited them quite a lot. And we, through the project, I mean, it's an arts project, so we didn't actually develop prototypes that were going to be developed, but we sort of drew attention to them. And the arts are very good, but I would say, at communicating and consolidating ideas and celebrating them. And so that's what we did. And so we created a series of things, including we tested a tidal turbine in the Thames. We created a wind turbine with young people for the roof of the Age UK building, a temporary turbine that spun round and spelled out Giza power at night in lights. And then we created a couple of water wheels for the River Lee, which is a tributary of the Thames, a tidal tributary, where there's an issue with pollution. And these floating water wheels drove aerators to pump oxygen into the water to help keep the fish alive when the pollution levels rose. So those were the sort of things we did. But I suppose the knock-on effect was also the effect for the geezers. We worked with a school, we worked with a college, and they're now integrating our materials into their curriculum.
Fantastic. And for you and the university, what have the outcomes been for you?
Well, I suppose for me, I'm interested in how I can use creative work to make a difference. And so there's been a lot of satisfaction for me in this project. And also it's been a privilege to work with the geezers and to see their ideas unfolding. And, you know, these are a group of working class men who all knew how to strip a motorbike down and put it back together again. They were very good with hands. They were really interested in the mechanics of the turbines and worked with an engineer to come up with all sorts of ideas. And that was very, very satisfying. I suppose for the university, I mean, it became a major output for the REF and an impact case study. So that was very good. But I think perhaps even more importantly, the university has new strategies in terms of health and well-being, sustainability and enriching lives through culture. And this award recognises their themes, which I think is really very good for the university.
Fantastic. Now, I was thinking back. So you've made this nomination back in spring 2022. What's happened with the project since you made that nomination?
Well, actually, the project came to an end in 2020, and it had to come to an end. I mean, the users, a lot of them, they're older people, and a lot of them had. Some of them had become incapacitated. Some of them actually died in that time. And some of the key people were no longer with us. And we came to a point where we felt that we'd done what we could do. But it has had quite extraordinary knock-on effects in other ways. So part of the project, I sort of found lots of ways of bringing funding into the project. And one of them was through linking up with a project called Hydra Citizenship, which was about the relationship of people and water. That was a sort of HRC funded research project that the university was a partner in. And through that, one of the academics, social scientist, recognised how the arts can actually make a difference, the power of the arts, which is something I've always known. But it was very good for me to see that other people were able to recognise it. So he was involved with environmental scientists in India who were trying to address the issue of water shortage in the Rajasthan desert. And because he'd seen the use of the arts, he said, oh, we can bring the arts to solve that problem. The environmental scientists were rather stuck in terms of getting this information, which had been lost for a generation, back into the villages. And so through that, we employed a traditional storyteller and puppeteer in India, who then worked with villagers and worked with children who then gained knowledge from their grandmothers and put that into a touring exhibition and a puppet show that went around the school. So the next generation were learning the information. And also the storyteller created a mural that was painted by traditional painters in the area that is used for telling stories, that told the story of how the water came and went and why, what they need to do to get it back again. So that's one way that the project had an ongoing effect. And in fact, that research team is now doing the project in Kashmir. So in fact, it is having wider ramifications, which is really satisfying.
That sounds fantastic. So finally, I just wanted to ask, what did the recognition for being awarded this award, what's that meant for you?
Well, I think for me, it's been so affirming to have this approach recognised and valued by the academic community. Because I say, I'm an artist. I started off doing this as an artist, and then I found that it worked and integrated very well with research. And so for me, that is a process that I can now bring into research. And I'm now also advising others on how they can use these approaches in their research. So the power of the arts also, it affirms that for me, that, which is a thing I've been working on all my life, really, to establish. And also, I think for the geezers, that gave them a real feeling of achievement, and the fact that they could use their experience and their sort of sense of purpose of doing something that was of value. So I think for the geezers, the older people, and for the young people involved, it also affirmed their knowledge and sort of affirmed the knowledge that they have the right to ask questions and to get them answered. And as one geezer said, I'd like to just quote what one of them said, which is, we've also come to realise that we certainly have better ideas about what wind and water can do for the country than the government. Why is there so little investment in tidal power? Why are there still no turbines on the Thames Barrier? Good questions.
So that's I get that. That's a great point to leave it. Thanks so much, Loraine, for taking the time to share your insights into the project, and thanks for all of you for watching.
You're welcome. Thank you.